Most people know him for this.
Why the am I so unlucky? Why the am I so unlucky?
But compared to others who only lost races, he lost far more.
Jules Bianchi has died of injuries suffered during last year's Japanese Grand Prix.
Anthoine Hubert has been killed in a Formula 2 crash at the Belgian Grand Prix.
To understand how he got here, we must go back and tell the greatest stories in F1. Jerez, Spain, 2014. Charles Leclerc had just finished his Formula Renault 3, but instead of celebrating, he kept following the Formula 1 Japanese Grand Prix because his godfather, Jules Bianchi, was out on track. Then suddenly, a message arrived. Jules had suffered a terrible accident.
Formula One's racing body said the Frenchman was taken from the car unconscious and will issue any updates as soon as further information becomes available.
Months later, miles away, Charles would get the news that his godfather had died from his injuries.
French Formula 1 driver Jules Bianchi has died of injuries suffered during last year's Japanese Grand Prix.
This loss cut deep. Jules wasn't just a close friend, he was Charles' mentor. His inspiration since childhood. They first met at a karting competition, where Leclerc was always alongside his father, Hervé. Watching Jules rise convinced young Charles that Formula 1 was possible, and before his death, Jules made sure of it. He convinced Ferrari to take a chance on an unknown talent. And you know what? In 2016, Charles got his first test with Ferrari, his chance to succeed, his way of carrying on his godfather's dream. And he got in. He was now a part of Ferrari's academy, the biggest team in F1. From there, he climbed through the ranks, GP3 champion, then into Formula 2.
That's all. Leclerc trying another move on his former teammate. This is amazing to watch. But remember, there is one more. DRS zone. Oh, he might have opened the door. Luca Ghiotto's opened the door. And Charles Leclerc takes the lead.
Setting the world alight. Leclerc was Ferrari's project, one step from F1. But just before the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in 2017, something would shake Charles' world. After months of fighting cancer in silence, Hervé passed away, the man who had done everything to get Charles there. Before his death, Charles lied to him, saying he'd already secured a seat in Formula 1.
As soon as he passed away, I asked myself, what would he want me to do? And I had no doubts. I mean, there was only one answer.
So after the loss, he had only one choice. Make it true. Right after his father's passing, he took pole in F2, won, and dedicated the victory to him. On the side of his helmet, it said,
Father, he did many things in my career. I mean, if I'm here today, it's thanks to him. He made me start at 3 years old, and since then he has been a huge support for me. And yeah, it's a good way to thank him. It won't bring him back, but satisfying thing for me this weekend.
Charles fought all the way through to the F2 title and a seat in F1 and made the promise to his father real. He joined the junior team in Sauber. Immediately, Leclerc started impressing.
The young man at 21 years and 166 days becomes the second youngest pole sitter ever, and he goes even faster than he did before. It's a new track record.
And just after 1 year, he graduated to the senior team, replacing Kimi Räikkönen. Formula 2 in Sauber was one thing, but Ferrari is a different kind of pressure. The expectation was enormous. He was a second-year driver lining up next to a four-time world champion, Sebastian Vettel. But once again, he rose to the occasion. In his second race, he got pole. He had missed his first Formula 1 victory, but Spa gave him another chance. Once again, he started from pole. And now all eyes were on Charles. But that same weekend, his attention was on Formula 2. Why? Because one of his closest childhood friends, Anthoine Hubert, was racing there. After qualifying, the paddock turned to watch the F2 race. But suddenly...
Holy jeez. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, wow.
A tragedy occurred in which Hubert died in an accident. It was the third crushing loss in just a few years. Jules, Hervé, and now Hubert. Anyone would have walked away, taken the time to grieve, Instead, Charles climbed into the car and drove the race of his life. He fought off Lewis Hamilton lap after lap and took his first ever Formula One victory, dedicating it to Hubert in one of the most emotional moments in modern F1.
First time ever, Charles Leclerc wins a Formula One Grand Prix.
First victory in F1. This one is for Anthoine.
Next week came Monza, Ferrari's home, the Tifosi's temple. This time, Charles delivered again, winning back-to-back races, becoming the first Ferrari driver to win at Monza since 2010. At that point, it was clear. Charles wasn't just Ferrari's prodigy anymore. He was their future. But this was still Sebastian Vettel's team, and the four-time champion had been their title challenger for the past 2 years. In the beginning of the season, it was clear that he was their number one. After Monza, not so clear. Naturally, tensions rose. There were controversial team orders, strategy fumbles,
I am stupid. I am stupid.
and even collisions.
Oh no, he's got a puncture! They made contact, and Charles Leclerc's got a puncture caused.
What the hell?
But despite all the challenges, Charles kept fighting. By the end of the year, Vettel could see the writing on the wall. He knew Ferrari belonged to Charles. On his farewell helmet to Leclerc in 2020, he wrote one line that would define the rest of Charles' career: "Don't waste it." From that moment, Ferrari and Leclerc were interlinked. The most historic team in Formula One had their next champion, or so it seemed. Charles would have to wait for his chance. Ferrari was uncompetitive for the next 2 years, but with the regulation changes in 2022, Ferrari's new car, the F175, was Leclerc's first title contender. But to get the title, he would have to face a new foe, or actually an old one.
Max, what happened? No, it's just unfair. I'm leading, he wants to pass, he pushed me, I push him back, and after he pushed me off the track.
Charles, what happened with Max?
Nothing, just an incident on the race.
Max Verstappen and Red Bull. Everything would come to a head in the 2022 season. Leclerc was no longer a young kid. He was the man who would lead the charge. In the first race in Bahrain, he stomped on that title challenge. He took the pole, led every lap,
Charles Leclerc's going to try and shut the door on Max Verstappen, and he goes right over to the inside.
and won.
Charles Leclerc wins the opening Grand Prix.
And that was just the beginning. Everyone felt that this was going to be Leclerc's year. He's going for the throne. Early in the season, he was ahead of Max Verstappen until Spain.
That's Charles Leclerc.
And that's Charles
going
Leclerc.
very slowly.
No! 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 What happened? What happened? Lost power.
He was leading the race until a shock engine failure. He watched in horror as Verstappen took the lead and the race and the championship lead. But this is still a long season. All he had to do was get back a win. The next race was Monaco, his homeland, the crown jewel for every driver. The entire principality waited for their hero to win, but Charles was cursed there, suffering heartbreak after heartbreak. This time, it seemed different. He had a pole in front of his home crowd, and one of the fastest cars on the grid. What could possibly go wrong?
And box now, box now, box for hard. Stay out, stay out, stay out.
Fuck! Why? What I do?
Tire, position 5. Multifunction tire, position 5.
Ferrari made one of the worst mistakes we've ever seen. Did they learn? Baku gave him the pole again, and Ferrari gave him another blow.
Bull has pitted on this lap, so Ferrari taking the opportunity to stop. Oh, does it for Leclerc, slow stop.
At first, it didn't seem fatal. He still had a big gap to Max, but just a few laps later, the dream turned into a nightmare.
Oh, there we got. Is that Leclerc? That's Charles Leclerc. Oh, we've got both Ferraris out.
It was an absolute heartbreak because in a straight line like Austria,
It's Charles Leclerc who wins. Max Verstappen pushed him all the way. He finishes second.
Leclerc showed time and time again that he was more than able to beat Verstappen. But race by race, the title was slipping away. The pressure of having to overcome not only Max, but incredibly incompetent management by Ferrari was getting to Charles. And in the French GP, the pressure finally got to him.
Tyres. Well, it's like you're on ice at this stage. There's no way he's going to stop that.
It was over. Ferrari messed up chance after chance. Ultimately, Verstappen ran away with the title, and this 22 season would be a microcosm of Leclerc's entire career. So much talent, so much racing ability washed away by horrible, incompetent management. They had the car and the driver who could compete for the title, but in the end, Charles' biggest challenge was Ferrari. And 2023 was really making that clear. They were horrible. The car wasn't fast enough, reliability was fragile, and strategy was still a mess. For Leclerc, he even set a record, most pole positions ever without a world championship. And if you wanted a single image to sum it up, it came in Brazil. His car broke down on the formation lap, and over the radio came the line that defined his year.
I lost the hydraulics. Why am I so unlucky?
No one was close to Max Verstappen's dominance that season, and Ferrari never looked like challengers. But then came 2024, and something changed. After years of Red Bull stranglehold, suddenly they looked vulnerable. Carlos Sainz took a win in Australia, Lando Norris in Miami. For the first time in years, the title fight felt open again. And for Charles, there's no better place to prove himself than Monaco, the home race that had haunted him year after year. Could he do it? Every lap felt nervous. Monaco is such a punishing and brutal place. One mistake could send it away, and we've seen before how everything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Thwarted!
Oh, he hit the barrier on the way and then broke his track rod, broke the steering arm.
As the crowd held their breath, Charles led every lap of the race until finally the moment was here.
Charles Leclerc wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
The roar from the crowd and an incredibly emotional moment. It was one of the most emotional moments modern Formula One has ever seen. Not just for Ferrari fans, but for the whole sport. And he didn't stop there. He won again at Monza, delivering for the tifosi, and even in the United States. I swear to go man that sunset lap. At its best, F1 is downright romantic. It was one of his best seasons. 3 wins, his highest points total, and 3rd in the championship. Ferrari had finally looked like contenders again. And with the next season coming up, if Ferrari could continue this form, this could be the moment that F1 fans had been waiting for years. Now joined by the legendary Lewis Hamilton, this was going to be Ferrari's biggest year yet. And like returning to a toxic ex, we all thought this time would be different. But from the very first race, it was clear Red Bull dominance was fading. This could be anyone's year, just not Ferrari's.
Is there a leakage?
A leakage of what?
I have the seat full of water, like full of water.
Must be the water.
Let's add that to the words of wisdom.
I swear to God, one of the funniest I've heard in F1. But when the opening race stumbles, we can get memes out.
In terms of results, Mick, 1 win in 17. It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
At least it can't be worse than this. China.
Both Ferrari drivers have been disqualified.
Leclerc and Hamilton were disqualified for their cars being underweight. This wasn't a mistake, it was a humiliation. While McLaren took over for Red Bull, Ferrari was still Ferrari. And the worst part, it was Ferrari's own fault. McLaren, being the smart team they were, built on the car they had in 2024 and turned it into an absolute world beater. Meanwhile, Ferrari, for some reason, decided to change up their entire model before a year when the new regulations were just coming in a year. Why? Just why? But Ferrari and making sense are opposite things. Finally, Monaco looked promising. Maybe he can recreate last year's win. He was the fastest all weekend, and in qualifying, seconds away from pole,
And break home hearts, he does!
snatched away at the last moment by McLaren. Poetic. Maybe we are real idiots, because we've seen this before. We saw it in 2022, the engine failures, the strategy errors, the wasted season. And now here we are in 2025, and nothing's changed. It's not the drivers, it's not the team principals, it's Ferrari. But this season is the most bleak, because it is a clown show for every race.
I am so
Leclerc got one pole the whole season, Hungary. People weren't even happy, they just waited for Ferrari to fuck up.
This is so incredibly frustrating. It's a miracle if we finish on the podium.
Remember that message from Vettel? Don't waste it. At the time, it sounded like a blessing. But maybe it was a warning. Maybe don't waste it wasn't just advice for Leclerc. Maybe it was the prophecy of every driver who thought they could break Ferrari's curse. So what now? The question with Charles Leclerc since his debut has not been a question of if, but when is he going to win the destined championship? This shot of Leclerc from this weekend in Zandvoort says it all. Ferrari might actually do it. They broke the unbreakable man. Watching him sitting there, maybe he realizes too that this isn't 2019 anymore. He's 27. His time is running out. Maybe even worse is his emotional health. Every kid dreams of becoming an F1 Ferrari driver. Charles lived his dream, and now it breaks him. Does he really want to stick with Ferrari, blinded by loyalty and love? While you write your thoughts in the comments, click on this video about Anthoine Hubert, where Charles lost his close friend.